Ainz Ooal Gown, also known as Momonga. He is the main character of Overlord. He was once a human named Suzuki Satoru, living in the year 2138. In the game Yggdrasil, he used the name Momonga. After being transported to the New World, he renamed himself to Ainz Ooal Gown. That way, if any of his guildmates were also transported, they could find him. You see, before the transfer, Ainz was the guildmaster of Ainz Ooal Gown. He also created Pandora's Actor and ruled over the Great Tomb of Nazarick. The NPCs there see him as the highest of the 41 Supreme Beings. In the New World, Ainz became the Sorcerer King and founded the Sorcerer Kingdom. He's also the most powerful magic caster in the world. On top of that, he created a second identity, Momon, the quote-unquote dark hero. As Momon, he holds the highest adventurer rank, is an adamantite, and is seen as the strongest adventurer in Urantel. The thing is, Ainz is extremely cautious. He always plans ahead and avoids taking risks that might endanger Nazarick. He even lies about how long it takes for him to cast certain super tier spells, just to control what others expect. That's why he often gathers intel, buffs himself, and uses all available advantages before a fight. Since becoming undead, Ainz has lost most of his emotions, and the ones he has left are greatly suppressed. He now appears cold and merciless. While he might feel a bit embarrassed watching Pandora's Actor, he has no problem lying or brainwashing people. If killing helps his plans, he'll do it without hesitation. Yes, even if it means using humans as sacrifices or test subjects. Still, he tries to avoid fighting other players, unless they threaten Nazarick. I guess what's important is that Ainz still honors his guildmates and the NPCs they made. He tries to act noble for their sake, so they have someone they can follow. But make no mistake, he always puts Nazarick and himself first. And although he doesn't hate humans, he also doesn't care if they die. Ainz's journey began back when he was just a regular player in Yggdrasil. In real life, he led a sad and lonely existence. His mother died from overwork while making his favorite dish, and his father showed him no love. The only real joy he had came from the game and his guild friends. He even spent a third of his monthly salary on in-game items, despite barely having enough to get by. Know anyone like that? Early on, Momonga was an easy target for PKers and got killed a lot. But one day, Touch Me stepped in and saved him, and that moment changed everything. The two of them went on to create Nine's own goal, a PvP clan. Later, it was Touch Me who suggested forming a full guild and made Momonga the leader. With help from his friend Nishikienrai, Momonga led the guild to conquer a dungeon called the Great Tomb of Nazarick. They even gained a world item, the Throne of Kings, and Nazarick became their home base. Ainz's power is massive. Normally, a level 100 player could learn 300 spells, but with his skill Dark Wisdom, he learned 718. That made him one of the top 5 magic users in the guild. He can use Create High Tier Undead up to 4 times a day. This lets him make undead up to level 90, like Eternal Deaths or Eyeball types. If he splits the ability, he can make 2 level 90s instead of 1 level 70. He also has Despair Aura 5, which has a chance to cause instant death. With Undead Domination, he can control the undead who are weaker than he is. Once dominated, they can't hide anything from him and can't break free unless he lets them go. As a job skill, Undead Lieutenant lets him use XP to create undead, like Overlord Wiseman or Grim Reaper Thanatos. Then, there are his super tier spells. One of the most terrifying is the Ashub Nagarath. It creates a massive black cyclone that wipes out everything caught inside, and then spawns creatures called Dark Young. The more lives sacrificed, the more Dark Young appear. In the New World, Ainz has summoned as many as 5 at once. Another is Pantheon, which lets him summon 6 level 80 angels known as Cherubim Gatekeepers. Then, there's Wish Upon a Star, a spell that burns through XP to grant powerful wishes, though it can't overpower world items. Ainz has accessed it before using an item, but he's also mastered the spell on his own. Ainz has built a huge army of middle tier undead, like Death Knights and Soul Eaters. These can be summoned permanently using corpses, and he moves them around with Spellgate. Ainz can also summon angels, but since they're not undead, they don't get any boost from his class skills. By the way, when Ainz holds the Staff of Ainz Ooal Gown, he can summon powerful primal elementals. These are tied to the elements and can only be called using this special guild weapon. Aside from these, Ainz has a gazillion other abilities we haven't talked about yet. So, if you want us to cover those too, drop a comment below. Herohero. Known as the Ancient Black Slime and the Slime of Destruction, this guy could definitely give Rimuru a run for his money. Herohero's race, Elder Black Ooze, is one of the strongest slime types in Yggdrasil. It is a high-tier heteromorphic race with insanely powerful acidic abilities. In fact, their acid is on par with the strongest slimes out there. Herohero was one of the last 4 active members of the guild. He created Solution Epsilon and also helped design the homunculus maids who serve in Nazarick. On the final day of Yggdrasil, he logged in just to spend time with Ainz before the server shut down. Herohero's Elder Ooze race specializes in acid-type attacks. His job classes are Monk-type, which don't deal much direct damage, but his acid is deadly in PvP and PK fights. It can melt enemy equipment and even break through immunities, which traumatized many opponents. On top of that, as a slime, Herohero has a motion detector that senses vibrations within 100 meters. The problem is, he has no normal vision without a magic item. He found it spooky, not knowing what was beyond his sight, especially with ranged enemies. By the way, Herohero owned a magic item that let him see like a human, something slimes normally can't do. Outside of combat, he was also a skilled programmer, able to use Macross to control his nanomachines. The thing is, Herohero hadn't retired from the game, but he hadn't logged in for about 2 years. According to Ainz, he stopped playing after changing jobs. His workplace was so harsh and exploitative that Ainz called it a black-hearted enterprise. Because of that, Herohero was often exhausted. Sometimes, if he couldn't sleep, he'd log into Yggdrasil. On days when he was tired from work, he liked to relax by dressing Solution Epsilon in a bunny costume he collected. When Ainz later built the Sorcerer Kingdom, he promised himself not to rule like the boss of a black-hearted enterprise. Touch Me. Touch Me is one of the original founders of Ainz Ooal Gown. He's also the creator of Sebastien. Before the guild became what it is now, he led the clan called Ainz Ooal Gown. You see, among the members, it said that Touch Me's real face looked exactly like Sebas. So in a way, Sebas was made in his image. Now here's the thing. Touch Me was one of only 9 players who could use the special class called World Champion. This class came with bonus gear, and his armor, Compliance with Law, was stronger than Divine class items. It could even rival guild weapons. He also had a white shield called Earth Recover and a red cape that moved on its own. On top of that, like every guild member, he wore the Ring of Ainz Ooal Gown to teleport inside Nazarick. Because of this class, Touch Me became one of the strongest warriors in Yggdrasil. Even Ainz admitted his stats were insanely high. He could block a boss's attacks without taking any damage, and still strike back, even though he was an attacker, not a tank. Perhaps the strongest move is World Break, a slash that cuts through space itself. Sebas even claimed it could tear through space and time. Think of it as an upgraded version of the 10th tier spell Reality Slash. And to top it off, he had flashy special effects, background music, explosions, and even a heroic pose that triggered the words, "Justice has arrived." What's important is that Touch Me stood for justice. He helped others without hesitation and scolded friends when they did wrong. That strong sense of justice is something Sebas picked up from him. In fact, Sebas even tried to turn Ainz into a myth of pure justice based on Touch Me's ideals. In Volume 10, Chapter 3, Ainz remembers fighting Touch Me and never being able to beat him. But Touch Me wasn't perfect. Back in the Ainz Ooal Gown days, he had a big fight with another member. That person ended up quitting the game, and it left a scar on Ainz. Touch Me, for his part, felt guilty about it. Later, during a clan meeting, he planned to resign, but instead surprised everyone by suggesting they dissolve the clan and form an official guild. By the way, Touch Me was rich in real life. He had a fancy home, a beautiful wife he had known since childhood, and a daughter. He also worked for the government. Herohero once joked that he'd arrest any suspicious person. Outside of gaming, he definitely touched some grass, and maybe a few criminals too. Odds are, he was a police officer. Peroroncino. Peroroncino is the younger brother of Bukubukuchagama and the creator of Shaltir Bloodfallen. He was known as the Winged King of Explosive Strikes. As a birdman, Peroroncino specialized in ultra-long-range combat. Give him a wide-open area, and he could land shots on targets 2 kilometers away, easy. His go-to move? Hide, then pick you off with a bow. But in cramped spaces, let's just say his strength dropped faster than his arrows. He was a hardcore power gamer, obsessed with skills, builds, and squeezing out the best stats. Ainz even said Peroroncino wasted data on flashy effects. Still, he worked hard, especially building the Sunfall item combo. After the guild conquered Nazarick, he finished his full Falling Sun set, and paired it with Hoyoi's bow. In combat, he used skills like Storm Piercing, Wind Tunnel Arrow, and Hawk Eye. Passives like Golden Archer and Heavy Bomber Attribute boosted his elemental magic power. In Volume 10, Chapter 1, Ainz remembers how dangerous Peroroncino really was. After going outside to use the fly spell and landing on top of the roof, Ainz thinks about how someone like Peroroncino could easily shoot him from 2 kilometers away. Even in Ainz's battle against Shaltir, Shaltir says that Peroroncino is actually superior to Ainz because he gave her a healing skill that saved her from Reality Slash. Even more important, or is it? Peroroncino absolutely loved H games and made sure everyone knew it. Shaltir's personality reflects his taste, as she ended up being the most fetish-loaded NPC in Nazarick. Even her breast pads were part of a big backstory fix after the illustrator made her bust too big. But sometime after Shaltir was created, Peroroncino eventually quit the game. He left all of his gear with Ainz and told him to toss it if he wanted, but Ainz kept it. Bukubukuchagama. Bukubukuchagama is one of the 3 female members of Ainz Ooal Gown and is considered one of the 41 supreme beings by the denizens of Nazarick. She's best known as the creator of Aura and Mare, and the older sister of Peroroncino. So if you want to blame, or thank, someone for Mare and Aura's cross-dressing preferences, here's your gal. In real life, Bukubukuchagama was a popular voice actress who often played young girls in adult games. Her stage name was Kazuyu Mikumi, and old fans referred to her as Kaze-chin. In fact, Peroroncino once lost interest in an H game after realizing his sister had voiced the heroine in it. Her relationship with Peroroncino had a big influence on how Aura and Shoutier turned out, something Ainz picked up on immediately. When she got serious, her voice would drop, and she'd call him out with lines like, "Oi, want me to tell everyone what you did when you were 12? In Yggdrasil, Bukubukuchagama played a defensive slime character, which made it difficult to find a party early on. She was known as Slime Shield and the Unsinkable, perfect for tank roles and raids. Though her stats were lower than other builds, she compensated with high-tier defensive gear and top-tier hate control. Her skill in managing hate helped her protect teammates and coordinate entire fights. Even when the guild was offline, she would defend the base solo if needed. Because of her slime race though, Bukubukuchagama couldn't normally wear armor or shields, but she overcame this with special equipment and abilities, even equipping shields in both hands. She also had immunity to many status effects like poison or paralysis. At some point, Bukubukuchagama also gave Ainz a timepiece called Bukubukuchagama's wristwatch, which she programmed herself and has her voice as an alarm. In the anime, it helped Ainz's time where the battle against Shoutier could be finished. The item was later passed to Aura as a reward for her work in the top forest. Nishikienrai. Nishikienrai, also known as the Ninja, is one of the 41 Supreme Beings of Nazarick. At some point, he made Narbarol Gamma. You see, Nishikienrai looked like your classic ninja. All black outfit, strange mask, and twin swords at his waist. He was easygoing with his guildmates, but also a daredevil. He liked jumping into high-level monster zones just for the thrill, even though his defense was low. In battle, he focused on stealth and high physical damage. His sneak attacks were so strong, they could outclass even warrior Takemikazuchi. No stealth user could slip past his eyes. He used twin Kodachis, Amaterasu and Tsukiyomi, which Ainz later used against Shoutier. His main skills included Arm Slice, Headshot, Hobble, and Shadow Bind. His trump card was a ninja tool called Susanoo. Like the others, he wore the ring of Ainz Ooal Gown. In the web novel, he's also a half golem with insane strength. One sweep of his greatsword had no equal. Outside Yggdrasil, he played Abaraj, a game that involved building power suits and then using them to fight each other. His build was light armor, high speed, high firepower, and no radar. He even ranked with the title of Violet. In Volume 14, Chapter 2, Ainz remembered how Nishikienrai told Amanomahitotsu, "Just play Aberrage instead, Lamau." Wish 3. Wish 3 was one of the 41 Supreme Beings in Nazarick. The NPCs in the Great Tomb saw him as a godlike figure, just like the rest of the guild. Some people believed him to be the priest class. You see, Wish 3 had also been around since the early days, back when Touch Me and the others were still part of Nine's own goal. When Ainz Ooal Gown was created, its very first mission was to conquer the Great Tomb of Nazarick. Wish 3 joined the rest of the guild in that mission, and they succeeded on their first try. By the way, Wish 3 almost made it into the story. In a poll by the author, Maruyama, he was one of 4 characters considered for Volume 16. He came in 3rd place. Shizu Tenzaku won the poll, while Nuubou came 2nd and Suratan came 4th. Warrior Takemikazuchi. Warrior Takemikazuchi is the one who created Cocytus. Back in Yggdrasil, he played to win and wasn't afraid of risks. He wanted to enjoy the game to the max. He even saw Touch Me as his main rival and wanted to beat him in battle. The thing is, he actually respected Touch Me's strength and even tried crafting a special weapon just to surpass him. But before he could finish it, Touch Me quit the game. That incomplete weapon was later placed in Nazarick's treasury. Before logging out for the last time, he gave Cocytus his katana, the god-slaying Emperor Blade, as a final gift. During Ainz's fight with Shoutier, he used Takemikazuchi MK8, one of Takemikazuchi's weapons. In terms of combat, Warrior Takemikazuchi was all offense. He had classes like Kinsei or Sword Saint, which have low defense, but the highest physical damage in the guild. In Volume 11, Chapter 1, Ainz starts getting weird thoughts about Cocytus' behavior, then remembers his creator and wonders if Warrior Takemikazuchi had some secret fetish. But he quickly laughs it off, saying Takemikazuchi was a good guy who just liked to fight. Yeah, let's pretend it's just that. In the anime, when Cocytus gave Brain Unglaus an honorable death, he thought his decision would have made his creator proud. Ancient One. Ancient One is one of the 41 Supreme Beings of Nazarick and a member of Ainz Ooal Gown. Like the rest, he's revered by the NPCs in the Great Tomb of Nazarick. He'd been with Touch Me and the original crew since the early days of Ainz Ooal Gown. His first official debut wasn't until the 2024 Overlord exhibition, and even then, almost nothing was revealed about him. Bellriver. Bellriver was a member of Ainz Ooal Gown. Ainz called Bellriver part of the intellectual elite of their clan. In the web novel, he is the guild strategist. Bellriver plays as a magic knight, which is a mix of warrior and magic classes. He switched between sword and spells. In Overlord Volume 8, Story 2, Ainz says the dense forest and spa resort Nazarick was made by Bellriver and his assistant, Blue Planet, and that they modeled it after the Amazon River. Outside of Yggdrasil, Bellriver uncovered dangerous secrets about the megacorporations that ruled the world. Because of that, he was killed in a quote-unquote accident, meant to silence him. But by then, his information had already reached someone else. He's the only known member of Ainz Ooal Gown confirmed to have died in real life. Lucifer. Lucifer was a member of Ainz Ooal Gown. His avatar was of the angel race, magical beings summoned from another realm. Most of all, Ainz honestly didn't like him. Among his guildmates, Lucifer was known as a troublemaker. He could create golems and was responsible for making Grimmery, the lion golem. In Spa Resort Nazarick, his lion golem had a combat AI flaw that caused it to attack everyone after activation. Lucifer called it a bug, but Ainz suspected it might have been on purpose. He also made several attractive female-type golems hidden throughout Nazarick, sourcing most of the crafting materials from other guildmates. Just for laughs, he even created a golem that would chase people and sent it after his comrades for fun. In one incident, the female floor guardians, led by Albedo, tried to peek at Ainz in the bath, but the lion golem stopped them. The males mistook its voice for Lucifer's, though Ainz corrected them. Still, hearing that voice reminded Ainz of all the headaches Lucifer had caused and why he never liked him much. Flatfoot. Flatfoot was one of the 41 Supreme Beings in Nazarick. He had also been part of Nine's own goal with Touch Me and the others. When Ainz Ooal Gown was formed, they decided to conquer the Great Tomb of Nazarick, and Flatfoot helped out during this mission. He and Nishikienrai were in charge of checking the area around the dungeon. Though the assassin and ninja duo were not as good as pure scouting type characters, no stealth specialized character had evaded their eyes so far. After they took control of Nazarick, Flatfoot worked with Peroroncino. Together, they did macro research for Shaltir Bloodfallen's creation. His main weapon was called Survivability. The name means smooth and shiny flat chest. It matches his username, but it caused some confusion. You see, Peroroncino once joked that Flatfoot might like flat-chested people, or maybe even men. This joke was actually heard by Ainz in the Blu-ray special. In Overlord Blu-ray 06 Special, Prologue second half, Flatfoot said that he likes them flat, but not necessarily lollipops. If you know, you know. Amanomahitotsu. Amanomahitotsu is one of the original founders of Ainz Ooal Gown. He created the NPC Shihotu Tokitu and served as the guild's chief blacksmith. Like Touch Me, he had a deep love for hero stories and item creation. At first, when Ainz Ooal Gown had only a few members and everyone had to fight, Amanomahitotsu dropped most of his blacksmith levels. But once they conquered Nazarick, he rebuilt his character purely for crafting. And he didn't just stay holed up in Nazarick. He often went out with the other members to gather materials. And he had this habit of eating food that gave him buffs. When Yggdrasil introduced power suits, Amanomahitotsu got one. Since even crafting-focused builds could fight in them, he thought his past experience in aerial combat games would give him an advantage. But during a mock battle with Peroroncino, he got completely wrecked. After that, he never used it again. Amanomahitotsu also created the head chef NPC, who runs the 9th floor canteen. When Ainz visited the place, the head chef insisted on cooking a full Supreme Being feast, saying anything less would dishonor his creator's name. As a blacksmith, Amanomahitotsu specialized in crafting, leading all of Nazarick's item makers. But just like the other crafting members, he took some basic combat levels so he could handle himself in dungeons when needed. He also possesses the Ring of Mastery wand. Every time the ring was used, it only applied to one wand at a time, and he would have to wait an hour before he could change it out. It also carried the drawback of requiring mana to use, but it was still a very valuable item regardless. At one point, he gave the Ring of Mastery wand to Ainz. Blue Planet. Blue Planet is a member of Ainz Ooal Gown. In real life, he's believed to look like a tough man, but as the name suggests, he was known as a nature lover. Blue Planet is a druid. His weapon of choice is a shovel. He also has a powerful ability called Nature's Shelter, which is a 10th tier divine spell that summons a bunker from the earth. Inside, it looks like there's an endless sky. The shelter can survive even super tier magic attacks. In fact, the only thing that can destroy it is the super tier spell Sword of Damocles. In Yggdrasil, most of his time was spent on the 6th floor, creating his ideal world. In Volume 1, when Ainz saw the night sky of the new world, he wished Blue Planet could be there to see it. Apparently, he started playing Yggdrasil with a clear goal. which is to recreate the natural beauty that had been lost in the year 2138 due to pollution. In Volume 14, Chapter 2, while talking with Sebas, Pestonia, and Nigrido about Irantel's food culture, Ainz remembered the European biodomes and seed bank disputes. He hadn't cared much about them back then, but he recalled that Blue Planet was very passionate about the topic. Besides the 6th floor, he also designed the bar on the 9th floor. The idea was to make it a place for healing and relaxation for individuals and small groups. Ulbert Alain Odell. Ulbert Alain Odell is a member of Ainz Ooal Gown and is the creator of Demiurge. Ulbert's character build revolved around World Disaster, a class with incredible firepower. He even killed a player who had World Disaster to take the class. On top of that, he took levels and classes that further specialized in offensive ability. By attack power alone, he was easily among the top 5 in the guild. But he had a weakness. Though he had an ample supply of MP, his consumption rate outstripped even that. In other words, he burned through MP quickly. Even so, after mastering World Disaster, he gained a spell called Grand Catastrophe, which outstripped the might of even super tier spells. It was an ultimate move that required 60% of his MP. In fact, it could wipe out 4 level 87 Primal Fire Elementals, and a level 90 Primal Star Elemental at full health, plus damage the boss's health. For gear, Ulbert had Armageddon Evil, an item that could summon an endless army of demons. This was inspired by a world item he admired. There was an earlier version, the Armageddon Evil prototype. He gave that to Ainz, who later passed it to Demiurge. After helping conquer Nazarick, Ulbert made the 7th floor. It was full of ruins and a barren wasteland in the center. He designed it for Demiurge, hiding plenty of secrets within. Demiurge believed it reflected Ulbert's true desires. Ulbert even created 7 demon subordinates for him. It was supposed to be 12, but he gave up partway through. He also created the throne room door from the Limageddon on the 10th floor. He wanted to give incoming heroes an evil welcome. In Volume 1, Ainz remembered Ulbert saying that if Nazarick ever fell, they would make their last stand there like final bosses. Although Ulbert was once part of Nine's own goal, where he had become close friends with Ainz, there was tension between him and Touch Me. In fact, Ainz said that they almost never appeared together in any group photos, even after forming Ainz Ooal Gown. Garnet. You see, Garnet had a strong interest in gimmicks. He was a skilled programmer and handled all of Nazarick's traps. In Nazarick, he made CZ2128 Delta, aka Automaton NPC Shizu, who calls him the Professor. He even made her numerous one-yen stickers, and wrote her backstory so she could bypass Nazarick's treasury mechanisms that he set up himself. In Overlord, the Undead O, Garnet helped with mechanisms made by Tabula Smaragdina for Nazarick's treasury. On top of that, he designed the panic room on the 9th floor, which was full of traps. He also created personal spaces like the Ninja Mansion for Nishikienrai and a slot machine. Temperance. Temperance is the creator of Chakmul. At one point, he told Chakmul and his greater doppelgangers to call him Kariyami no Shirabe, or Anyami Shirabe in other translations. When Ainz later heard this from them, he couldn't help but laugh at the sheer Chunin-Byu energy. Not that he has much room to talk, considering how embarrassed he gets whenever Pandora's actor reminds him of his own teenage self. Variable Talisman. Variable Talisman was a member of Ainz Ooal Gown, though he was never all that passionate about Yggdrasil. More of a casual gamer than a hardcore one. He still enjoyed playing different games as a way to recover from real-life trauma. For his avatar, he chose the Centipistern race, which is basically upright centipedes. He picked it simply because he liked the look, even though it was a terrible choice for his role as a tank. The race was much better suited for a thief, not a frontline defender. Because of that, his build, abilities, and techniques were all second-rate. Variable Talisman used to tank alongside Bukubukuchagama before quitting the game. In fact, during Ainz's fight with Yaldabaoth and the Demon Maids, he said that if Variable Talisman and Bukubukuchagama were there, the backliners wouldn't be getting beaten up. Nearata. Nearata was a member of Ainz Ooal Gown. In the prologue of Overlord Volume 4, Ainz told Albedo to pass a message to Pandora's actor. He wanted him to transform into Nearata because Nearata had unique abilities and merchant-type skills, which made him perfect for the task. Ainz hoped Pandora's actor could use those skills to appraise the items he'd gotten after the Zornorn incident in Yggdrasil. At the same time, he wanted to get better prices by using an item called the Exchange Box. Nuubou. Nuubou built his character as a divination specialist. He was also known as the Eyes of Nine's own goal. His words alone can guarantee that there was no magical surveillance observing the party, meaning he can sense if there's someone spying on them through magical means. It would have taken an infiltrator or unprecedented ability to hide from his eyes. Genjiro. Genjiro was the creator of Intoma. Genjiro liked keeping things neat and organized. After the guild conquered Nazarick and made it their base, he took charge of organizing the treasury. He sorted everything into categories like armor, weapons, jewelry, auxiliary tools, consumables, and manufacturing goods. Ainz later remembered this when visiting the treasury. The thing is, Genjiro's orderly tendencies had their limits. If he were truly obsessed with cleanliness, the treasures among the gold should have been neatly arranged too. The items should also be arranged in order of defensive gear, weapons, jewelry, wondrous items, consumables, crafting supplies, and so on. But Ainz realized that everything's stored in the same play anyway, so it doesn't really matter which direction you enter from. Yamaiko. Yamaiko is one of the 3 female members of Ainz Ooal Gown. She was the older sister of Akemi and the creator of Yuri Alpha, Decrement, and Increment. In Yggdrasil, Yamaiko was a Niflheim, a heteromorphic giant race. She specialized in spirit-type magic and focused heavily on healing. She banked on her race's ability to take 2 very high ability scores and 3 very low ability scores to maximize her spirit and endurance. In addition, she was fully equipped with gear that abandoned offense to focus on defense. Combined with her regenerative abilities, she was far more survivable than even a half-baked tank class. Her curated spells were also far more powerful than those from enchanted wands, and she could also transfer MP to others. Her build maximized spirit and endurance, sacrificing offense for survivability. This made her more durable than many tank classes, but she had low MP for extended battles and very low attack power. Her role was to serve as the final defensive line, healing, reviving, and holding the line if the front collapsed. Yamaiko possessed powerful magic, including the super tier spells Judgment of Osiris, which could manipulate karma values, and Wish Upon a Star, which granted wishes at the cost of experience points. Only she and Ainz owned this special item, Shooting Star, which was needed to cast it. Yamaiko's real name was Yamase Maiko. She worked as an elementary school teacher and played Yggdrasil with her younger sister, Akemi. Yamaiko is said to be kind, polite, and protective, though sometimes impulsive. So she has the infamous nickname, Muscle Brain Sensei. Whitebrim. Whitebrim had a strong obsession with maids, and often declared, "Maid uniforms are justice." While his guildmates sometimes complained about this, he defended it with a unique logic, pointing out that if 60% of the world's species were insects, it could be inferred that God loved insects, and therefore a creator is entitled to make what they loved, meaning he's entitled to make as many maids as he likes. In the real world, Whitebrim was an otaku and a mangaka. And to the surprise of absolutely no one, the heroine of his current manga was a maid. He had entered this manga industry through works featuring maid illustrations and eventually became serialized. Punitto Moe. Punitto Moe was the strategist of Ainz Ooal Gown. When Ainz Ooal Gown PK'd, they gathered as much information on the opposition as possible, and then launched an ambush to swiftly decide the matter. Simply put, the battle is over before it begins. And that is stated by Punitto Moe in the text named PKing for Dummies. As the guild strategist, he planned each operation, gathering all available intelligence before deciding the outcome in a single swift ambush. His preferred method of player killing was known as squashing, which had a high success rate. Punitto Moe specialized in commander-type classes, enhancing the abilities of his team members. As a hard gamer, he applied knowledge from various games to develop new strategies. He created the guild's manual, PKing for Dummies. He also taught Ainz that when using information-gathering spells, they must prepare for the enemy's counterspells in advance. Ainz remembered Punitto Moe advising him to remain calm, plan ahead, and avoid wasting time on insignificant matters. He also recalled lessons from him about strategy games, such as the impact of territorial conquest on the happiness of the populace. Tabula Smaragdina. Tabula was the creator of Albedo, Nigredo, and Rubido. In terms of raw destructive power, he was a stronger magic caster than Ainz. What's more, he was one of the intellectual elites of the guild. According to Ainz, he knew a lot about occult lore. On top of that, he had a soft spot for Gap Moe and a love for horror movies, both of which influenced how he designed his NPCs. Tabula designed about 20% of the smaller mechanisms in Nazarick. The problem is, his complex designs took up so much free data space that other members complained. That's why he paid for cache items to expand capacity. Some of his creations included Photo Studio Tabula, the beauty parlor, and the frozen prison on the 5th floor. After Yggdrasil shut down, Ainz found that Albedo had a world item without permission. He suspected Tabula gave it to her. When Ainz remembers that he had altered Albedo's settings to like him, he wondered what Tabula would have thought about that. Beast King Mekongawa. Beast King Mekongawa was the creator of Lapis Regina Beta. But in Mass for the Dead, he was stated to be Lapis Regina's creator alongside Herohero and Nishikienrai. Though the truth is that the trio never actually created her. It was only an idea that they had that was never finished. Outside Yggdrasil, Beast King Mekongawa played another game called Aberrage with Nishikienrai. When he heard that Nishikienrai was among the top players in that game with the title of Violet, he thought about quitting, but Nishikienrai told him not to quit and said they could team up next time. Tigris Euphrates. Tigris Euphrates is a skilled ranger or thief in the guild. During the Yggdrasil days, Ainz noticed that Tigris Euphrates usually went ahead of him and his party when they discovered mountain caves. They let Tigris Euphrates and the others like him take the lead, with Ainz following behind. Then they'd summon monsters, in Ainz's case, undead, to walk ahead and trigger any traps. Marching forward like that was known as a warrior's disarm or a summon disarm. Suradin. In the past, Suradin worked with Peroroncino to create a Nazarick academy inside the guild's headquarters. In Overlord Volume 8, Side Story 2, Ainz recalls how Peroroncino used to shout at Suradin. Apparently, Peroroncino once went on a rant about School of Comedies, and decided he wanted to make Nazarick Academy with him because of it. Ankoro Mocchimochi. Ankoro Mocchimochi was one of the 3 female members of Ainz Ooal Gown. She was the creator of Eclair, and Pestonia Shortcake Wanko. You see, Ankoro had a habit of naming things after food. She believed that sweets could ease tension in any room, and that no woman could turn them away. In Overlord Volume 15, Ainz remembered this when visiting the 9th floor canteen. He thought about how to make the elven slaves more comfortable and recalled her advice that sweets did the trick. During her time in the guild, Ankoro became close to her fellow female members, Yamaiko and Bukubukuchagama. In real life, she owned a pet dog that would sometimes urinate from excitement. This annoyed her, but she worried it might be due to his age. The thing is, when Hajinmal accidentally peed in the anime, Ainz remembered this exact story. He told Aura and Shaltir that Ankoro once described how her dog did the same thing when overly excited. Ainz decided to repay the kindness of Ankoro and Tabula Smaragdina. That's why he considered Pestonia's suggestion to spare some humans from the Riestes kingdom. Shizu Tenzaku. Shizu Tenzaku was the oldest member of Ainz Ooal Gown in terms of age. His race was Nue, a hybrid monster in Yggdrasil, with the face of a whiskered monkey, the hands and feet of a tiger, and a snake's head for a tail. Shizu Tenzaku was a spiritual magic caster and a master onmyoji. He excelled at magical countermeasures, but was mainly a magical attacker. In real life, he was a university professor. Since he worked at a university run by a megacorporation, he steered clear of guild politics. He was already exhausted from dealing with school politics, students, and corporate higher-ups after all. He had a crazy side and loved PK though. In Overlord, The Undead O, Chapter 65, he admitted, half apologetically, that PKing was his way of blowing off steam. He imagines enemy players as rude students when taking them down. Coup de Grace. Coup de Grace was one of the Ainz Ooal Gown members involved in creating the general maids of the Great Tomb of Nazarick, working alongside Whitebrim and Herohero. Thanks to his contributions, Coup de Grace is credited as the creator of Feu, Lumiere, and Étoile. Yasasui. Yasasui is a heteromorph with a very thin frame. His upper body was humanoid, but instead of legs, his lower body consisted of numerous tentacles. He appeared to be a magical sorcerer. In Mess for the Dead special event, a supreme moment died in darkness during the guild's experiments with rainbow drops. Touch Me suggested that Yasasui try changing his color from white to black, just like Touch Me and Peroroncino, to see what kind of impression it would give. Unknown member. Before Ainz Ooal Gown was even founded, there was a player in Nine's Own Goal who left after a falling out with Touch Me. According to Ulbert, Touch Me was partly to blame for the player losing their place in the group, even calling him selfish. This all happened before the guild was officially formed. And that's every Supreme Being in Overlord. Well, the ones we know about. There are a total of 41 members, but some of them haven't been revealed yet. Which one is your favorite, and who do you think was the strongest? Drop it in the comments. And if you want to see more from Nazarick, the next video's waiting right here.